One of my favorite bands in town, Beyond Here, is on the phone. Who do I have here, boys?
We've got Jonathan down at his house and me and Logan.
What's happening, man?
I wanted to get you guys on for many reasons. Obviously, I haven't had you guys on since. It's been a while. Was it 2018, 2019 when it was just two of you guys came up? And I can't remember who you were with, but you came in with like another band. Do you guys remember? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, it was all four of us. We came on with Sons of Our Fathers and Flummox.
That's what it was. Okay, I was trying to think of what interview it was because at that time we would do like, I mean, it got a little ridiculous. We would do like 7 or 8 interviews a night sometimes. And so I'll have like these memories of bands coming up and then I'll find that I'm totally wrong and I've never interviewed them at all. But I always know you guys have been up here. And so I wanted to get you guys on to do like a proper full-on Beyond Here kind of hang because you guys did something really brave. I got to be honest, putting out a record or an EP, I should say, on New Year's Day. That was really brave and I think really awesome. How's the response been so far to the new Dangers EP?
It's been fantastic. You know, it was a very last-minute thing for us. I think we made the final call like December 1st or something.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. Gave ourselves a month, but the new song that we wanted to release is called New Man. Obviously, 2020 has been what it's been for everybody.
Yeah.
And in our minds, we wanted to start off 2021 right.
The song in itself, like the title and everything, which I'm going to get into and play here in just a little bit, I think it does have like a vibe of a newfound kind of thing, which hopefully is what we're in 2021. And I know you guys did have your EP release show was going to be scheduled, and you obviously pushed it back because of what happened. Was that place really affected by the bomb downtown? How close is that to where that happened?
It's a block away. So Bowie's is on 3rd and Church, but the blast was on 2nd. And I was in the process of booking that show with Michelle, the owner. It was a whole lot of back and forth just because she didn't even have answers. Basically, the FBI kind of had that whole area of town locked down until they were finished with it. So she said, as soon as we know something, I'll let you guys know something. Ultimately, what it boiled down to is we found out probably about 36 hours prior to that we got the green light and we could play. But we just kind of thought it might be in bad taste. There was just so much up in the air. Like, we didn't know if that was more of like a dry run and something else was going to happen on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. So we figured it was probably best just to lay low and reschedule.
I think I was telling you, John, that I think that was a good move. And I think that it's one of those situations where it's so tricky and it's hard to decide what. The only thing I can actually compare something like that to was I remember being a kid and Jimmy Eat World came to St. Louis, Missouri to play this small club on September 12th, 2001. And they went ahead and played the show. They went ahead and played even though it was like, the day after 9/11. And it was one of those things I remember thinking like it worked in that situation because we weren't in New York. Obviously, if you've been in New York City, it would not have worked. But at the time it worked. But I feel like, yeah, when you're like a block away from where it happened, I mean, safety, obviously, and then everything else. But I think it was definitely a good look for you guys to push it back. Are you guys thinking about rescheduling the release show?
We're already in the process of that now. We don't have it locked down for sure, but it looks like we're going to use the same venue. February 5th is the tentative date.
And it's cool they're having shows over there. I keep seeing like bands talking about playing there, man, and I love that. I wish we had more live music going on. What is it like to play at Bowie's right now? Is there like rules as far as like masks and stuff? How's it working over there?
It's been really cool. I mean, like you said, with the whole rock block being closed, that's one of the few places that original bands are having any opportunity to play. I mean, because obviously, like Broadway, all the cover bands and bars, they're still able to work and make money. But for original bands, it's been super difficult. But luckily, the managers at Bowie's have been very, very welcoming to original bands, and definitely have the social distancing reeled in. A lot of places didn't care too much, but especially lately, like they have the whole dance floor closed, and they're being cautious, knowing that is definitely still a thing that we all have to be mindful of. But at the same time, making sure that original bands are able to work and have opportunities to network and sell merch and just do what we need to do. It's
kind of interesting. We live in a time where cover bands can actually work more than original bands because cover bands play original bands' material. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's a weird world, man. And you guys are an interesting band, too, because, I mean, you guys came out like last year was really the year you guys really started hitting hard with these singles, and I gotta be honest, your guys' stuff is great. I mean, we've made about 2 of your songs now, I believe, local buzz cut of the week, and every time we put it out there's a good response to you guys, and you're one of those bands that really has been kicking it hard. How has it been like becoming, like working so hard to, because I've been in bands where like, we do album cycles and we put out singles. What's it been like to be a band doing all that and you just can't play live shows? I mean, how frustrated has it been? Has it been a different way for you guys to navigate this? What goes through your mind when you put out songs in this current climate?
if I can jump on this real quick, this is Jonathan, by the way. John is our social media guy. He does everything. So if we put out content, he makes sure it gets to the right people at the right time immediately. If we can't play a show, but we've got a song that we really want people to hear, he's killing it, man. He just makes sure that song gets in front of the right people every day, all day. We did the video for Go There, great production. At the time, it was our favorite song that we had a recording of, and it was really tough to not be able to go out and promote and be like, hey, there's also a video of this, blah, blah, blah. We just had to social network the crap out of it and be like, we're going to play music. We're going to get to play these songs in front of you. But right now, here's a video that we're performing in the video, and that was, at the time, that was all we could do. And John has just done such a good job to make sure that we stay relevant in a time when I know personally bands are falling apart, people are moving home, and it can't be that way, man. If you want to work 6 months from now, you still got to be trying right now. You can't just be like, we'll try again in 6 months. You still got to dig every day.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I love to hear that, because it has been one of the things that's interesting up here is watching so many bands that have just kind of, called it. And I get it. I understand where that's coming from. But at the same time, it's frustrating for me too, because I love the local scene and I want to keep spinning these bands. And so every time I see one go down, I'm like, no, like I want to scream, like, keep going, because I do feel like things are going to bounce back, which leads me to my next question. What is 2021 looking like for Beyond Here? Do you guys got some plans maybe? I don't know if touring is even a possibility right now, but what's going through your guys' minds for the rest of this year?
Man, we're going to keep trucking the way we have been. Like Jonathan was saying, and thanks, John. Your check's in the mail, by the way. Content, because anymore social media drives a band. And so content is king, and that's been the biggest push for us is getting music videos out. Like you said, we didn't release anything until April of last year. So we were well into the pandemic before we even released anything. But even before that, we were starting to get a following and starting to get some momentum. And we just refused to let that stop. And so it's kind of put us in a different mindset to keep that up and to keep pushing. So, man, Anthony, I'm sure right now he's writing music. He's a writing machine. We have so much material we got to get recorded. And I'm just going to plug us that we are available for tours.
I love it. Plug away.
We're trying, man. We're looking into anything we can to be able to play live, trying to keep our ears to the ground of any venues that are open and when they're booking, and just to jump on that right away,
I feel like it's going to come back, and it's going to come back strong, because I think that if anything this year, when it comes to the music industry, has taught us that we really miss. We all took live music for granted. Me included. I would leave the station up here so many nights around midnight or 1 and have a friend who was still about to go on stage, and I'm like, I'm just going to go home. You know what I mean? And then looking back now, it's like, man, I would give anything to go out and to see those shows. So I think if anything, it's going to come back, and it's going to come back really strong. But what's been interesting too is seeing mid-level bands that are big and have money and were really successful, seeing those guys have to get jobs. I won't say any names on the radio, but I have some friends that were in a really huge 90s band, and they are now, one of the guys is actually a bartender. So it's like you're seeing these guys who haven't worked in probably 30 years being like, well, I guess I need to get a job now. So I think also maybe you'll see that whole group of bands regenerized and stoked to play again. Maybe it's going to have a whole new resurgence, and I feel like it's going to come back stronger than ever. I really do.
I think what worries me for the bigger acts is that so much is still unknown with the concert industry that if X band goes and books a show and they book this big tour, they've got to hire 300 people to go with them. Us, at this level, we go play a show, we hire ourselves, the 4 of us, we go do the show, maybe we bring in a merch guy, whatever, and we're going to get to play. These venues are going to want to stay open. They're going to book bands like us. Hopefully they'll bring in crowds and all that kind of stuff. But the big venues, and I hate to say that, they're the ones that are going to struggle because who knows if any of those bands, first off, are they going to want to book shows? Are they going to want to book shows where they're the band that's telling 50,000 people, it's fine, come hang out, it's no big deal? Where we can go play a venue and be like, listen, we're allowed 60 people. There's 60 people that really care, but it's a whole lot. It's just a totally different level. We're not keeping people employed in what we do. We're just trying to make it ourselves. Those big bands, they employ the venue, the staff at the venue, their road crew, all of that, and they can't afford to book a show. And a week before the show, the governor of whatever state says, hey, you can't do this. And now you've got, let's say, 600 people out of work. That's what's scary for the big part of the industry. We're going to be fine, but eventually we're going to get to that level, I hope, and
yeah.
We're going to fight those same battles, and that's scary for 2021 in my eyes.
You're not got a good point there. Someone has to be first. Like, there's going to have to be like all these big festivals like Bonnaroo and Shaky Knees and Voodoo. There's going to have to be a first festival, and I feel like no matter how safe or not safe things are, there's going to also be undoubtedly a backlash. You know what I mean? Like, let's say if Bonnaroo, if things are, told to be safe, and then Bonnaroo decides to be had, they're going to have the cancel culture will do what it does on Twitter, and they will blast them and hashtag super spreader and all that stuff that people do. So yeah, it's going to be tricky. They'll have to navigate those waters, and I got to say, I am definitely not jealous of whoever has that job. That's for sure.
There's no right way. There's no right way to open back up. There's no right way to have the first concert. There's not. There's going to be people coming back on it, whatever. We have chosen as a band to not just do a live show where it's just us and we're playing to our cell phone or whatever. It's really tough to get good sound. You don't know if anybody's going to watch. And I think that is where the big acts are going to flourish, because I will say a name, if Fleetwood Mac goes and does a live concert to nobody, 100,000 people are still going to sit and watch that on TV.
That's true.
We're going to get our grandma to sit and watch us play. So we are banking on live shows where the big acts that have a giant following, they're going to be able to play these virtual shows probably throughout the year. I think they're going to pop up all over the place. And we're going to benefit from that because people are still going to want to go out.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's very true. And I feel like there's just nothing, because in the very beginning, around like March and April, a lot of the live stream stuff was going on, and it was cool. It was definitely a unique thing and at the time, but I feel like now you're right. It's like, it's kind of played out to do a live stream, and also it just doesn't have the same vibe. I mean, watching one of your favorite bands on your phone or computer or iPad or whatever just does not have the same vibe as being in the club and watching them, and everything we love about live music. It's just not there. I will say, I went up to, it was in July, and Framing Hanley is a band from Nashville, and their drummer couldn't fly during coronavirus, and they had these 2 shows in Alaska, and they asked me to fill in because I'm not scared of anything. So I jumped on that plane. Let's do this. But so we go up there, and the shows were huge. I mean, it was us and Alien Ant Farm and Saliva, and all the shows were like 2,500 people, and the numbers were really low up there at the time, so everything was normal. But I got kind of emotional, man. Like, the lights went down. I walked on that stage, and that roaring crowd, and then after the show, like, we all had our masks on because we came from here, and up there they were asking us to take them off. They were like, "You're making people uncomfortable. Can you please take those off?" But wow. people at the merch table hugging you, and just all those moments that we love about live music, it just reminded me of, oh yeah, this is where it's at. It's not necessarily about even the band on stage. Sometimes it's just about the moment of being there with all these people and just enjoying live music like we always have. So I really, really, truly believe that it will come back, and I am 100% ready for it. I am never going to take an opportunity to miss on a show ever again, ever.
Nope. And that's the thing with us, man, is we're such a live band. That even trying to do a live stream, I mean, you know how it is on stage, like you said, that there's the roar of the crowd, and when you have that energy in a room, it makes you play better. It makes you play different, and man, you can't do that in front of a camera.
No, you just can't. It's not the same. It's just nothing to feed off of there. I guess that's the word I'm thinking. There's nothing to feed off of, No, it's so true. It is so true. But I love seeing you guys thriving, and I love seeing you guys are still doing stuff and keeping it going strong. And I think the last time I saw at least you, John, was I think it was a year ago at the Basement East whenever we played the Ivan's Grunge Night. Was that when we were doing Grunge Night 4?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right, man. It's weird to think that was a year ago. My God, what a different world.
It's crazy.
It really is, man. I remember when the tornado was the worst thing we had to deal with, and then this, and then now, obviously the bomb that went off on Christmas Day. It's like, man, what kind of nonsense was this? But I'm glad to see also the Basement East, because I drive by there every single day, and it's amazing to see they just patched it right back up. I never thought they would be able to do that, so that's amazing.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely excited to get back in there.
Oh, that first show back at the Beast is going to be biblical, to say the least.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So I got to ask you guys too, one last question for Beyond here on the Local Buzz. Do you guys have any New Year's resolutions? Is it New Year, New Me, anything going on with you guys? I've been asking a lot of my friends and a lot of bands that. Any New Year's resolutions you all are sticking to?
Man, I would say no, because we've been on such a path of moving forward that we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. Keep our heads to the ground. Is that right?
Yeah, I think nose to the grind.
Keep our nose to the grind. Whatever. We're going to keep our parts to the whatever part.
Keep on kicking ass is what he's saying.
Yeah.
I love that. I think
when September, October hit, and we realized that all this pandemic was going through the winter. It was not going to go away. The 1st of November, the 1st of December. We sat down and made a list of all the things we need to do, where we want to travel to, all that kind of stuff. And if any of that stuff was going to start at the beginning of the year and that was going to be our resolution, was to find work and work harder, we started doing that in November. So hopefully we're ahead of the game there. When anything starts to open back up, we've got phone numbers and email addresses and everything and EPK put together. Like, we're going to be one of the first bands that gets gigs everywhere because we've been just piling up all the information ready to go as soon as that's a possibility. It's really hard for us to send out all that information right now. Every venue is getting the same information from people. They're like, well, we're not open. It's like, well, here's 700 bands that want to play here. The day that some places they're open, you're going to hear from us that day, that morning, because we've got your phone number laying on a table.
I love it. Ready to pounce in 2021. I love it. Well, Beyond here, the EP's out now. It's called the New Dangers EP. The new single, New Man's been spinning on the Buzz here and on my show as well. But boys, I really appreciate you calling in, and I can't wait till we can have you all come in and hang out live like normal rock and roll radio used to be. Soon enough. I feel like soon enough.
Really appreciate it, Andy. Thank you so much.